why neighborhoods evolve, and why it's inevitable. That's next on Columbus Neighborhoods.
Support for Columbus Neighborhoods is provided by
At American Electric Power, we've been proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media for many years and strong supporters of our headquarters city here in Columbus, both downtown and in neighborhoods like yours.
State Auto Insurance Companies, serving customers and communities for nearly a century. Today, a technology and transformation company. Risk takers, creators, innovators. A company defined not by its history, but by its people. State Auto. The Columbus Foundation. Smart philanthropy for a smart city. ColumbusFoundation.org. Bailey Cavalieri. Your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be right. CODA. Keeps our community moving forward. Falgren Mortine Marketing and Communications. Think wider. Ohio Health focuses on you and your family with a mission to improve the health of our communities. And by contributions from these and other Columbus area families who support WOSU. Thank you.
Apparently, whoever said the more things change, the more they stay the same, had never visited Columbus. We're at Strongwater, and like many of the city's neighborhoods, Franklinton is being transformed in countless ways. Further on south, the Stambaugh-Elwood community's fortunes were tied to Buckeye Steel. As long as smoke was coming out of those stacks, the blue-collar neighborhood thrived. Now, dozens of homes are abandoned, and the people who stayed are depending on each other to make things better.
I've been told by my father and mother and other neighbors in the community, this was just a livestock pen area. They had pigs and cows and horses, and as people started migrating down here, they started buying up the different lots.
I'm original from West Point, Georgia. That's 86 miles southwest of Atlanta. When we first came to Columbus, my husband decided he was going to build him a house.
Dad had a third-grade education, no real labor skills. He was one of those gatherers. If he saw something, he's like, I'm gonna build my house, but I'm gonna use those bricks over there. And my father sat here in this house and built this house bit by bit, piece by piece, by himself.
My father came from down south, which was a city called Cairo, Georgia, in 1944. Just me and him. He worked at the Buckeye Steel Casting Company for a while.
South end of Columbus was the gateway for individuals coming from Georgia, coming from Virginia. A lot of the coal miners or those small towns that didn't have employment, but they wanted to come to the big city. This was the perfect location for them to come because Buckeye Steel, they would hire anybody that came in and wanted to work.
Everybody in our family worked there. My grandfather worked there, my uncles worked there. I think my dad did a stint there. I've worked there. Well, it's a dirty place to work, but it puts food on the table. It helped pay some of my expenses through my college.
We had probably about 8 or 9 different factories just in this little location within a mile. Brown Steel, Timkins, Flexiglass, allowed a lot of individuals a chance to help their families that were mainly undereducated and just needed some help.
This street was packed. There were houses, there were doubles, there were units.
You have a lot of what they call track houses. The same similar house will be built down the entire street. Nothing elaborate. The majority of them didn't have basements. It was just built for the workers.
The 60s were beautiful. There was a playground, it was a community recreation center that we grew up in, and we played, went to Bible school, we were athletes, we played softball. I watched my brothers play.
Across there, that used to be a garden that his mother and his grandmother grew crops there for years.
Change I started to see like in the 70s, you know, a couple of the houses were kind of getting dilapidated. Some got burnt out through fires and through the storms and the weather.
My husband, he didn't like Buckeye Steel because he didn't like the smoke. The smoke was too much for him. You would have to be a factory worker to understand what it's like to work in a factory. He would come home with all that, smoke in his clothes. It was just too much for him.
The area, honestly, it's like the water, the air, everything, clothes, cars, everything. I don't know if it was Buckeye Steel or the mulch factory or the junkyards, whatever it is. Everything in the house is turned a yellowish brown color.
Ohio Mulch came into our area right at the very end of Stanbar, where they had the big mounds of mulch that they were storing and packaging. Ohio Mulch was considering selling recently to Ace Iron and Metal. Ace Iron Metal is currently on 7 acres of land, and they wanted to come in and acquire the 22 acres that Ohio Mulch had available. We didn't want that in our back door. That would destroy the entire neighborhood. We're very voiceful. Now, to be a little small community, if it was someone that just wanted to have a warehouse, we wouldn't have a problem with that. Okay, apartment buildings, we wouldn't have a problem with that. But something that's going to adversely affect the whole community with traffic, waste, and the environment, we don't want. I think I'll come over here and pick my mama some fresh yellow flowers.
I just worried to death about her because I was trying to buy an American dream, to purchase a home for her to grow up in. She can grow up with the neighborhood children, and I don't want to grow up around a bunch of abandoned houses and things like that.
The makeup of Stanbar and Elwood is changing. Currently, we have a total of 60 homes. Probably half of those homes are owner-occupied.
I think the seniors stayed because, like say in the 30s and 40s, they put their families here. And they kind of stayed because of income that, the economy has changed. Things are expensive now. And it's kind of hard to just up and move.
Change is coming. If you have to, sell out and go someplace else, which I don't have to worry about this. I'm the younger one.
We know that the neighborhood is slowly dying out with the loss of individuals when they get into their 80s, such as my mom and my dad. Received a call from the city of Columbus about a week ago that this property right here is to be demolished, and we're glad to see it gone. Nice house in this day, but it's decayed to absolutely nothing. Mess. This is nasty. We got raccoons. Watch out. All that raccoon poop.
I always liked this neighborhood. I used to live in the other neighborhood across the bridge. I used to live back there when my boys were babies. I was Army Reserve, 62 Bravo, construction equipment repair. When I got out of the military, I went back to laying blocks and bricks. I learned it from my dad. I was out in California laying brick and block, and I lost my eye. After I lost my eye, I decided to come back. I had one older brother die, and then I had another brother die in Kentucky. And I used most of my settlement that I got from my eye to pay for their funeral. So, well, I bought that house up here and I spent what money I had left on it. Well, I'm kind of concerned about them tearing down most of these houses when they could be used for somebody. Somebody that don't have a home. I am homeless now, basically, because my house is condemned, and I'm afraid they might tear it down if I don't get the work done on it that I need to get done. What can I do? Honestly, I would like to get my house fixed and get my grandkids to come over and play in my yard.
For over a year, he lived in the shed behind the house as he was working on the house, till the city found out that he was in there and they made him vacate it. He started working on the property that he's in now, but he's met with a lot of resistance because there's no water lines. And we've tried through all the veteran services to get him help, but he can't get the help that he's required. There's a year's waiting list. Since he's been here for about 2 years now, he's become part of the brotherhood down here. We're going to watch out for you, okay? And we know you're watching out for us.
Father, you said.
The Bible says, love God, but then it says, second, love thy neighbor.
I believe. I receive.
Bill is one of the examples of a community coming together and talking to Bill, well, what do we need to do? And we said, Bill, we're going to pray. And God's going to open it up somehow, some way. And discovered that an organization I work with called Youth Build approached me and said, Tim, we're looking for a project to help our kids learn how to do construction. That's part of their GEDs. And I said, well, I got a project for you. And that's when I introduced him to Bill. It was just a miracle in itself.
Bill, you're no longer condemned. This gives us a permission to rehab your house. You'll be living in it this summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. God bless you.
I've always had a soft place in my heart for veterans. I'm glad that this plight has come to the community as something that's very real. I've been to the city, I've been to the neighbors, and it just came together. It just came together beautifully. And we have a relationship with Home Depot of many years, and Home Depot Charity Foundation gave us money to pay for all the materials for this house.
It starts in your community. Do you really take pride in your own home, your own community, your own neighbor? So many places throughout the city, they have homes, but they don't have a community, and we have a community. And that's how we receive each other, with love, with help, and with a watchful eye to make sure that everybody's doing okay.
Sometimes the signs of neighborhood revival might be overlooked. On West Broad Street, west of I-270, new Americans are moving in and making investments that are transforming the neighborhood. But it's happening in a way that a lot of people miss. Here's how to make sense of the clues.
We are on the west side of Columbus, and what we want to look at is emerging immigrant neighborhoods. So Jesus, let's look at where we are. Who is living here?
The largest number of immigrants living in this area usually come from Mexico and Latin America. If you look at the entire population of Columbus, the Latino population is about 3.4%. One of the most important aspects about immigrants is the relation to space. So when Latino immigrants come here and they find out there's no plazas, there are no walking streets, so they need to adapt and they need to reinvent. This is what is called an enacted environment.
They find new purposes for old buildings,
All
right?
buildings in this case. They were not originally designed as square plazas, but Latinos have to improvise because this is part of their culture. It's a rich aspect of their cultures. From my research about Latinos in the Midwest, I came to realize there are three typical anchors that are the reason why Latinos move to these neighborhoods. The first one is the church. The second one is usually the community center or the high school, the local schools. And the third one always the supermarket. I mean, the places like this where they can get access to fresh food and connect back to their home country. Those are the three main anchors. In many cases, sometimes in the neighborhoods, they don't have all the three typical anchors. A good example of that is the West Side Columbus. We have the church, we have the high school, but we don't have a formal community center. So in that case, the local supermarkets become the community center. That's the places where these immigrants go and gain information either for a house rental, leads on the job, things like that.
We are in Panaderia Oaxaqueña. We've been established since 1998, and we've been here ever since. When we started with this location, it was very accessible for us. The landlord was very open. He was very eager to start new businesses. He saw a change in the population, a change in the community, so he gave us the green light. It's the real molasses, so this is a very dense bread, but people love it. People love this bread, and this bread, pan de yema, is made with egg, a lot of egg. And amarillo, this is more of a salt bread. So this is very salty, and these are very sweet. So these three breads are very popular in Oaxaca. And that's the main reason a lot of Oaxaqueños come to the shop, to the bakery, because they know they can get a piece of home here. If you go to different things like California, Arizona, Texas, you usually see, the people selling fruit outside in the stands. And I love that because that reminds me of home, Every time I go to Mexico City, Oaxaca, fresh fruit, it's always there on the go, but they don't permit that. And I understand, you have to be safe, health-wise for the community. And I understand that, but there's some areas where Latinos, they connect because they think about back home. And like, perfect example, sometimes you have all elderly women selling tamales on the streets or with their push carts. And some people think, it might be unhealthy or uncoded, but that's something we identify with, us being Hispanic, Mexican American, first generation.
In our culture, it would look maybe a little dodgy, a little suspect, a little bit edgy. But what you see is different. What you see is a transformation.
If you look at history, where all these immigrant populations established themselves, they tend to gather themselves close to former successful commercial areas such as the Morse Road Corridor. The same thing here, we have the Westland Mall that was very popular in the 1970s and 80s. So they're abandoned. So what's happening now, all these immigrants are coming in, taking advantage of low rents, establishing their own businesses, and making this place more livable.
Craft beer is big in Columbus. Ever wonder how we ranked alongside big brewing cities like Portland? Find out about that story and more at Curious Cbus, where you submit a question online, and if voters agree, we report the story together. Look for stories, submit a question, or log on for a voting round at wosu.org/curious.
Gentrification is a term we hear a lot when we visit our neighborhoods. A lot of people use the term, but what exactly does it mean? We asked Columbus historian Ed Lentz to explain gentrification and tell us why it's so emotionally charged and complicated.
Gentrification is a term that means different things to different people. The term was coined by British author Ruth Glass in 1964. To deal with the phenomenon of the restoration and rehabilitation of neighborhoods within the inner city, largely by the introduction and return of middle-class people to what had become low to moderate income neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods at one time had been the homes of the affluent, but with changes in neighborhood over time, many of those neighborhoods had become the residences of low to moderate income people. What happens then when affluent people return to those neighborhoods? That process is gentrification.
Sometimes investors and developers say a rising tide lifts all boats, but that doesn't mean the tide necessarily spreads evenly. We asked Mark Ferenchek, who writes about neighborhoods for the Columbus Dispatch, and Brian Higgins of the Parsons Avenue Redevelopment Commission to talk about the evolution of Parsons Avenue.
We're in the near south side, Mark, and this is an area that's seen a lot of investment over the past few years. You can see just behind us here is the newer tower of Nationwide Children's Hospital, sort of looming on the horizon. Parsons Avenue really serves as a strong dividing line. So if you were refinancing or buying a house and you lived west of Parsons, I'm pretty certain the appraisers won't be looking east of Parsons for comps.
Tell us how stark those differences are between what homes are going for on the west side of Parsons versus what they're going for on the east side of Parsons.
On the east side of the avenue, we'll see homes that are listing on the MLS for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Even we see this home here right behind us, this vacant home. That's a great example of what you get for that kind of value. Right. So certainly part of that economic disparity is an unrenovated or vacant home versus a fully renovated home west of Parsons. You'll see median housing values over on the east side of Parsons in the $50,000 range, or on the west side of Parsons, more in the $250,000 to $300,000 range.
And is a lot of that just due to perception that this side of Parsons is more desirable than the east side of Parsons?
There's a little bit of perception issues. There is, a lot of the housing stock is similar. I would say that the west side has more brick units, which people find more desirable, but it's hardly like the east side is devoid of brick or that the west side is devoid of frame. I think what happened initially is, German Village has been obviously a very popular neighborhood in Columbus for a long time, and it has a very unique character and charm. But as people began to get priced out of the neighborhood, they started looking for the immediate adjacent areas. And I think it started with Schumacher Place, where you have a lot of that similar housing stock, a lot of smaller brick homes, and then expanded south into Marion Village. And so as people have begun to come back to the city and they want to live urban, frankly, Columbus has a very finite amount of urban homes in which you can choose from.
Now, you're with the Parsons Avenue Redevelopment Corporation. What are your long-term goals for Parsons Avenue?
First and foremost is very generally speaking is how can we revitalize Parsons Avenue? But the other thing that we want to do too is try to create opportunities where people from both sides of the avenue can come to Parsons and be able to enjoy whatever the avenue has to offer. There are some businesses that definitely are catering to folks on the east side of the neighborhood. There are some businesses that are definitely catering to folks on the west. We'd like to find a way to bridge that. There are some things that already do bridge that very well. The library is a kind of a place where everybody may go and feel welcome. Certainly a place like CVS at Livingston and Parsons. I mean, everybody should buy toothbrush, and that's a place where we have commonality amongst all the members of the community. So we'd like to see more of that, equal opportunity for all.
So in about 10 to 20 years, how do you see Parsons redeveloping? What's your vision for the area, and what do you think people are going to see here?
I think there's an inevitability to the redevelopment of Parsons Avenue. Partially it benefits from great geography. Its proximity to downtown. It's got a strong commercial corridor here in Parsons Avenue that's already established. There are opportunities for growth and redevelopment. I think the hospital is certainly a strong anchor and is really helping push activity farther down. Real estate values north of Whittier for sure, and one could argue even Thurman, have really escalated in the past few years, and part of that is that the hospital has made literally $1 billion investment, and they're on the verge of another $730 million investment, I believe. That's something any neighborhood would love to have, and certainly they've been a great partner too, which is an exciting opportunity for us to try to capitalize on that relationship. But I think as you see more and more housing activity, housing revitalization on both sides of the avenue, there's an adage that retail follows rooftops. And although there certainly are rooftops here, as we see more disposable income, as we see more people of diverse backgrounds, I think we're going to have the opportunity to utilize that as really as a launching point for new and exciting businesses along the avenue.
Thanks for being with us. And remember, you can catch all of our episodes on columbusneighborhoods.org. Plus, see our stories on the WOSU mobile app. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you back here next week on Columbus Neighborhoods.
My people, now listen up. There's nothing to be afraid of. My people don't walk away. My people don't fade away. My people don't walk in any lie. Meet me at the water. We'll rise with the sun. The truth is our shelter. We can trust you.
Support for Columbus neighborhoods is provided by
At American Electric Power, we've been proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media for many years and strong supporters of our headquarters city here in Columbus, both downtown and in neighborhoods like yours.
State Auto Insurance Companies, serving customers and communities for nearly a century. Today, a technology and transformation company. Risk takers, creators, innovators. A company defined not by its history, but by its people. State Auto. The Columbus Foundation. Smart philanthropy for a smart city. ColumbusFoundation.org. Bailey Cavalieri. Your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be right. CODA. Keeps our community moving forward. Falgren Mortine Marketing and Communications. Think wider. Ohio Health focuses on you and your family with a mission to improve the health of our communities. And by contributions from these and other Columbus area families who support WOSU. Thank you.